All right, so this is part two of the life and legacy of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First. All right, after the Italian forces were driven from East Africa by the Ethiopians and the British forces in 1941, Haile Selassie was restored to power because the Italians had invaded Ethiopia in 1935. He went into exile in Britain. And in 1936, he appeared and gave a famous speech to the League of Nations where he condemned the use of chemical weapons. The Italians were using mustard gas at the time to kill and massacre the Ethiopians. So the world came out in solidarity with the Ethiopians and condemned the Italians. All right. Now, in 1966, the Jamaican government invited His Imperial Majesty on a state visit to Jamaica. He actually visited the island on April 21st, 1966. And it was at the invitation of the Honorable Hugh Shearer, who was the Minister of External Affairs at the time. But this was seen as a political move because Hugh Shearer was a rising star within the JLP at the time, and he did it to bolster his political career and also to improve the chances of the JLP at the polls. Because within 11 months, the election was called on February 21st, 1967, and the Jamaica Labour Party prevailed. All right, so it actually worked because it was done in an attempt to gain the support of the Rastafarian movement, because prior to 1966, the Rastafarian movement was heavily policed, they were brutalized, they were persecuted, they were vilified, they were victimized, they were ostracized. And in spite of all of this, that movement increased in numbers. All right? And so the JLP saw it as an attempt to gain their support. All right? Now, whilst His Imperial Majesty was visiting Jamaica, he met with Rastafarian leaders, and it is said that he gave them gold medallions and he urged them to live peaceful and dignified lives. All right? He also visited Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago, and he visited Haiti as well. And in Haiti, he was given the highest national honor. All right? Now, the question to be asked, why do so many persons see this man, who was a Christian, as their spiritual leader? Some even see him as being divine, and some worship him as Jah incarnate. All right? And the answer can be found in scriptures. If you look at Revelation chapter 5, verse 5, Apostle John had a vision of the Lord seated on his throne, and in his hands was a book, and the book had 7 seals, and it is said that no one could open or loose those seals except the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And one of the titles of His Imperial Majesty was the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Also in Revelation chapter 19 verse 16, and a vision of the Lord again, and on his robe his name was written, and on his thigh, and the name that was written on his robe and on his thigh was the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And this is yet another title that His Imperial Majesty had. All right? So these are seen as reasons why Rastafarian actually worship this man. Also, his coronation in 1930 is seen as a fulfillment of prophecies. Marcus Garvey had prophesied that black people should look towards Africa for a leader for a king who will be crowned, and the deliverance of his people is at hand. All right. So these are some of the reasons why he is worshipped. Also, Leonard Howell, who was said to be the first Rastafarian man, who was exposed to the philosophies of Marcus Garvey in the 1920s, returned to Jamaica and began preaching that Selassie was in fact Christ incarnate. All right. Also, the mysteries surrounding his death and his burial. In 1974, there was a Marxist coup in Ethiopia, a Marxist military coup, and His Imperial Majesty was placed under house arrest. Whilst he was in house arrest in 1975, he died, but his death was under mysterious circumstances, and for many years no one could tell where his remains were. But in 1992, his remains were discovered under where his former palace was. He was given a proper burial on November 5, the year 2000, at the Holy Trinity Cathedral, which is a Ethiopian Orthodox church in Addis Ababa. Also, why he is revered and some see him as being divine is the fact that he himself claimed to be a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. All right. And if you do the research, you will see that Menelik II, Emperor Menelik II, is said to be his first cousin, right? And Menelik II is a direct descendant of Menelik I, who they claim is the child. They claim is a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. All right. So there are so many reasons, but Selassie himself has never claimed divinity, right? But he has not denied it either. All right. So this added to the mystery surrounding whether or not this man is divine. All right. So I hope I was able to shed some light on the life and legacy of this great spiritual leader. He's seen as a symbol of African resistance and resilience, and a force against colonialism, because Ethiopia is one of the very few countries in Africa which was never colonized. All right. So until we meet again, I would say to you, have a blessed day, and I will deal with the advent or the emergence of the Rastafarian movement when next we meet. Amen.